or if I'm actually talking to him on a baseball field or in a hotel room or where it happens to be, especially when the Curve are on the road. But he is on the line with us this morning. I do know that. Our conversation brought to you by Marcus and Mack, a law firm representing injured people. So assuming you haven't fallen into a vat of chocolate at the M&M factory, John, good morning.
That's correct. No, I am still with us and ready to chat.
That is so good to hear. Have you been on a golf course this week?
I have, and I shot 85 on Monday. It felt very good.
Yeah, there you go. That Monday off day is probably golf day for you every time, isn't it?
Yeah, when we're not out and traveling, we are definitely on the golf course on a pretty regular basis.
Mm-hmm. Why not? That's the life. They used to talk about minor league baseball being nothing but buses and fatigue. But the way this schedule's set up here the last 2 years with the Monday off days, that has to be so much more, I guess so much more a blessing to the ball players themselves and to you as a broadcaster and the management and everybody that's on that bus, because it just seems like that regular schedule is a real advantage.
Well, of course. I mean, we're used to sort of what felt like random off days, where you'd play sometimes 11 to 13 or 15 days in a row before you get an off day. Just having the consistency of that off day every week is really nice for everybody's mental health and actual physical health, where, players know that they'll be away from the facility for a full day pretty regularly. And, from what I understand, farm directors and player development folks really like the setup of the 6-game series schedule because it lets guys get the most work in early in the days to get better as players. And, that's sort of the whole point of it in the long run.
Yeah. Hey, the Curve this week, there have been some roster moves, some injury designations, some new people coming to town, and some others that can't play for the moment. I saw Henry Davis had a couple of hits last night for Bradenton, and Quinn Priester made his debut and took part in a combined no-hitter last night for Bradenton. Maybe those guys show up again in Altoona pretty soon, but you have had some new faces show up this week, huh?
Well, sure. I mean, adding Nick Domkowski out of the bullpen is somebody that, I know our pitching coach, Drew Bennis, is pretty excited about, just because now they have another guy they can deploy for matchup purposes late in the game, and he's really thrown the ball well between Bradenton and Greensboro. Added Joe Jakes as well for an appearance on what was supposed to be Tuesday, but then we got rained out, so he ended up starting the second game of the doubleheader on Wednesday. And he's a guy who's actually not that far away from a major league opportunity, given the way he pitched at AAA a season ago.
Yeah.
So, getting, and like you said, getting guys like Quinn Priester and Henry Davis, Nick Gonzalez is not that far away. We could be looking at the fully loaded Curve roster here in the next couple days, and certainly when we're back home on Tuesday.
That'd be a lot of fun. Tell me about Noe Toribio last night. Got the start. He's a bullpen guy, but he got the start last night. Looked pretty sharp, huh?
For sure, and this is just more of the same for Toribio this year. He started last season in the rotation at 21 years old, and skipping high A. He was one of those guys that the Pirates obviously had high hopes for, and very much liked what they saw from him. But he's just really taken to this multi-inning bullpen role really well. That sinking fastball has been terrific for him. I mean, it's not overpowering velocity. He'll top out at about 93, sometimes a 94. But he commands that sinker very well. The changeup works off it, and he's spinning the baseball really well. It's a good-looking slider right now that he's able to manipulate, throw it for strikes, break it out of the zone when necessary. And he's just quit giving up runs, which, in the long run is what you want out of a pitcher. So, he's really improved this season. And I'll tell you, man, if he keeps throwing like this, he's going to be in Indianapolis pretty soon.
Yeah. I think Mike Burrows might be on his way out of town, too. What a performance by him.
Oh, yeah. He did it with some family in the crowd, saw his dad wearing a Pirates Burrows jersey in the stadium at Reading on Wednesday night, which was pretty cool. A little bit of a shorter ride coming from his home in Connecticut to get to Reading, then to Altoona. So, that was pretty fun to watch. I mean, that curveball has really come a long way. He threw a couple of good changeups on Wednesday night, and as long as that changeup continues to develop and be a weapon for him, then he's going to give himself a chance to start in the major leagues. He's just got a great demeanor out there on the mound where he doesn't waste any time. He's got an attitude about him, and he just goes right after guys with his best stuff, which is what the Pirates are sort of preaching to all their guys right now.
I think it's really neat that the Pirates pursued a strategy a couple of years ago of guys that probably were not going to sign in the draft because of their college commitments and the fact that they might be able to get into college and improve their draft position. Pirates drafted them anyway and then signed them for increased salaries, and all of a sudden these guys are showing up in the Pirate system who might not otherwise be, and Mike Burrows is one of those.
Yeah, Burrows is one of those guys, and I liked what the Pirates did with their draft strategy last year where, look, Henry Davis got, was the number one overall pick and got a bonus in excess of $6 million, but, his slot, was more like $8.5 million, so the Pirates used the rest of that slotted bonus money to sprinkle it around other guys to buy them out of college commitments. Bubba Chandler, who was committed to be a two-way guy at Clemson. Lonnie White was going to go play football at Penn State. He's going to play wide receiver for the Nittany Lions, and they bought him out of that to play baseball instead. I think the Pirates had a good draft strategy a year ago where they brought more high-level, high-upside talent, younger guys that are further away, guys coming out of high school. But, I think at the end of the day, when you want to look back at a draft, you want to look at the highest impact, of players in the major leagues. And, with their strategy a year ago, they've given themselves a chance to have a lot of impact guys, arrive from the same class.
And I think one of the interesting things about all of that is that there's another draft coming up here very, very shortly. And when that happens, then the minor leagues undergo a bit of a shuffle. Some fellas who didn't work out find themselves out of a job. Some people who come into the Pirates system move others up, and the chain eventually ends in Altoona and in Indianapolis. And there are some roster moves coming and some interesting prospects who will be arriving in Altoona.
Yeah, you're right about that. That every year, there's going to be a fresh batch of guys that the organization is excited about getting a chance to develop. Unfortunately, that's part of the story that not every guy works out in the way that the organization envisions. So, once we sort of get through the draft, which I think is mid-July this year, then probably a couple weeks later, once a couple of those guys are ready to go out to affiliates, once they're signed and, get a few workouts in down in Pirate City, then they go off to other places, then we'll see some of those moves to square the rosters to where they are.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch what happens over the next couple of weeks when you think about the draft and the prospects coming into the Pirate system. Meanwhile, the prospects who are in Altoona right now continue to impress. We'd like to see some more wins and hope that will come together pretty soon. Peguero keeps hitting. I thought Triolo had a pretty good week this week, too.
Sure did. I mean, multiple hit games in both ends of the doubleheader on Wednesday night. Jared's just become so consistent. He's not hitting for a lot of power, which is a little strange given what he did a season ago. He's only got, I think, 5 RBIs for the season, which is very strange because he's batting in one of the top 2 or 3 spots in the order every day. But between Jared and Blake Sable, I'm really looking forward to what this lineup looks like. I'm sort of thinking about what it must be like to be an opposing pitching coach and seeing a lineup that has Jared Triolo and Nick Gonzalez and Liover Peguero and then Henry Davis and then Blake Sable and then Matt Frazier and then all of a sudden you're in the 7th spot in the batting order and you still have to face a Brent Sitta or an Aaron Shackelford or a Lolo Sanchez or a Connor Scott. I mean, this is about as good a Double-A team on paper as I've ever seen. And when this group finally rolls together for say 2-3 weeks in a row, we could see the Curve ripping off something like 8 out of 10 wins.
Yeah, it's interesting, especially what's going to happen with Sable when Davis gets back, because that's 2 guys playing one position, and be interesting to watch what happens with Blake. Does he end up in Indy, or how does that all work out? So we look forward to all of that.
Yeah, I think that's possible. But I know they want Sable to catch a little bit, so it could be a rotation a little bit where he catches once or twice a week, and Henry catches the other 4 or 5 days and fills in as the designated hitter when he's not.
Yeah. All right. So Curve back home next week.
Yeah, the Superstars are coming on Tuesday. This is one of my favorite minor league baseball promotions. I think they were last in Altoona, maybe back in 2014 or 15. These big characters that are, like sports stars. You have Roger Clemens and Slammy Sosa and Peyton Manatee. We'll get a different cast of characters on Tuesday night this week against Erie. Fireworks as the weekend wears on, and looking at this weather, we're seeing 70s and a lot of sunshine in Curve, PA. It should be another good week to come out to the ballpark.
Yeah, you'll have some promotions going on, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, these Superstars are my favorite thing on Tuesday. We've got bobbleheads coming up in the future here. We're going to do our salute to the 2017 championship with our Loco Flag Championship bobblehead, where it's Loco waving the Eastern League Championship flag after the 2017 title. I believe that's Friday night of this coming week. Look, it's going to be a fun week because it's a good team, and now that the kids are out of school, it's a good reason to get out of the house and have some fun.
There you go, some Altoona Curve baseball. He is Jon Mozes. All right, tee off, and we'll catch up with you again next week.
Thanks very much. Talk to you soon.
All right, there's Jon Mozes in the Altoona Curve. It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 11.